Okay. Don't blink. It's your blink. Welcome to our show. Everything also having a wonderful day on this 6th March 2025. Now this is a discussion that I have with my father today. Welcome back on the subject. It is absolutely phenomenal as a subject, and I wanted to share the wisdom of a old French Canadian because I think it's important. Um, Dude, we just had a talk with my neighbors and she's super nice, but she's like, because there's an election coming up soon, and we're talking about the election, and she's like, hey, who are you voting for? I told her who I'm voting for. She's like, are you crazy? And then I told her why, and she's like, it doesn't make any sense. So why ask a question if you're already expecting an answer? I don't understand. So my father, today we were talking. Sorry, just a little bit of rent. We're done. We're good. My father today was talking about something. We were talking about the making content, right? And he was like, "Hey, I understand how hard you work for this, but is it really worth it?" And my first reaction was, again, a bit defensive, but I understand where he's coming from, a place of care and worry. I understand that. My first reaction was, "You don't even know what I'm doing. You don't even know how hard I work." But he started out with, "I know you're working hard," So then we were talking about it, and he said something that I want to elaborate on. That is so freaking cool. He says, we don't know the value of hard work because nobody will admit that they aren't working hard. So, for example, you're gonna take somebody that's lazy, and you're gonna ask him, "Did you think you worked hard enough today?" And I'll say, "Yeah, I worked hard enough today." But in your opinion, right, they didn't work as hard as you did. But in their opinion, they work as hard as you did, right? So it's a question of opinion, and opinions are not facts. So it's insane the fact that you think that since nobody is willing to admit that they're not working hard or they're hardly working, you have this desensitization of what is hard work or what is the I don't know. It was such a good conversation this morning because it was like, I don't know. My father is like my mom. She'll give me great advice. My father's like more so talking about. He's like me though because he'll talk about the sun, the morning, the weather. But then once in a while, I'll say something super profound and super thoughtful. And like, holy shit, where'd that come from? Not because he's a dumb guy, but because he doesn't express himself a lot. So it just was crazy to me to think that there was no value in hard work because everybody says they're working hard. So where do you draw the line? And who is to draw the line? Who's judge? Are they judge, lawyer, and executioner? That's the question. Don't blink. It's your blink. Welcome to Welcome to our show. The doing well, having a wonderful day on this on this 6th March 2025. We got 20% battery. We got 15% battery. This is my last video of the day. It's gonna be a very cool video. It's gonna be a little life update without being a life update. What I mean by that, a life update to me is, hey, I got a brand new house, or hey, I got a brand new job, or hey, I'm a father. Truth is, I'm probably a father. If you're one of my kids, call me. I've been waiting for your call for the last 23 minutes. Yeah. It's a life update because I felt like coming in and talking to you guys because again, I do value you guys so much, and it's funny because I often think about how I talk about myself a lot, right? But then you guys are watching, and I think that you're some of you guys are living by cautiously or by curious, not by curious, but there's a word for that. Through me, right? And I think I can like it's easy to talk about the surface stuff. It's easy to talk about the tip of the iceberg. We're trying to talk about the iceberg that's beneath the water. So, long story short, very short, we were just. I think this idea also came from the fact that there's nothing concrete about what's going on in my life. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of concrete stuff, but a lot of the new stuff isn't concrete. But it's also the fact that I'm talking about it so much with my parents that I feel like it's becoming concrete. For example, the weight loss. Tomorrow we're gonna have my second weigh in. First week was 15 pounds. said about that. So tomorrow's gonna be also something good. We did cheat this week. We had a Big Mac, we had a poutine, and we had an ice cream. But this is the only cheat that I had the whole week, so that's not that bad. But at the same time, I do think I do think that, so for example, what is the non-concrete stuff? Well, we had a job fair, and this job fair was a opportunity to get a job, right? That's why you got to a job fair. Now, is it concrete? It's not concrete. We've been starting to work. We've been starting to make more videos, right? We've been starting to make more videos because we're feeling motivated again. But again, you have those old videos that you haven't even posted, right? I have videos that are 2-3 weeks old that I haven't even posted. So how productive are we, right? Now there's this whole thing of people equate hard work with results. There's no result, there's no hard work, or there's no work. I just don't agree with that. But at the same time, see, it's crazy because you would think that the concept of making a video is the hardest part. Uploading it is also hard because you have to do the right time. You gotta do the right title. You gotta do the right thumbnail, right? And yeah, this is a bit of a newer thing to me to put in the work, because technically speaking, before I had the excuse of I'm doing so many videos a day. I don't have time for thumbnails. I don't have time for this, that, this. But now since we're doing less content, we're trying to upgrade the quality. We're not shifting to a quality or quantity. This is actually something that I've been thinking a lot about. If the content that I wanted to do starting from now on, because we are almost exactly a month in, 4 years of making content, almost. And I gotta start asking myself the question of, well, are you gonna continue doing what you're doing? Are you gonna be changing the recipe? Are you gonna be doing something different? And if you're doing something different, what is the different thing? So it would be shifting between quality and quantity. But then I think about it and I'm like, well, there's possibly a time where you're gonna be a lot more motivated, a lot more. I'm motivated right now, but there's always gonna be like a possibility of higher state of mind or possibility of lower state of mind, right? Your mood, how it affects how you work, right? So the concrete life update, it's doing so much, but actually finishing things, right? So for example, we went to the job fair, and I'm super excited about that, and I'm looking forward to the thought of working to places that I applied. When you go out in the world and you're like, okay, well, I applied there and I applied there and I applied there, you don't really see yourself working there, but you apply because you need a job, right? Versus the job fair where there's nothing but choice. It's like having it's like going to the theater actually. So you go to the theater and like, I don't know which movie I want. Okay, 5%. Whoa. So 5%, I'll be right back.